Are you ready to future-proof your business? Having a robust digital transformation strategy is no longer optional. It's essential. In this video, we dive into the key elements that will help you navigate this journey successfully. Welcome to The Prime Concern, a video series that helps you navigate critical IT decisions and use IT services to your advantage. I'm Justin Ekstein, and I bring about 2 decades of IT experience to the table, about half of which has been spent deep in the world of managed IT services. I've noticed that oftentimes when talking to a new customer, their IT strategy really hasn't been very proactive, and they haven't seen what it means to plan out their technology roadmap and have a real plan in place. So today we're going to dive into how we can change that. So first, we're going to dive into just understanding digital transformation. Like, what does that really mean? Probably the most classical example that, as a business owner or somebody just who works in business would understand, we constantly have to innovate. And I see it every day, really, from a technology perspective, of businesses that have kind of just stuck to the status quo just because things have been working. But eventually, what you find is that your customers, they want something new, they want something easy, they want things done the right way. And if you're not innovating as a business, eventually your competition will, and you're going to start losing those clients. And we just start to see that over time because your competition continues to innovate, so we have to as well. I think probably one of the things to really understand at the core of digital transformation is that it's just continuous improvement and planning. You can't just do it every once in a while. You have to really think about it regularly and have a real plan in place. It's looking at all of your business processes, the things that you're using, and how the technology is helping you along, and how we can do that better, more efficiently, and create a better experience for your customers at the end of the day. So when we think about what is really driving this transformation in this digital era, at the end of the day, it's really your business's needs as well as your customers and what they want and what they expect out of your business. So we need to make sure that we're reevaluating what we want to provide, what we're expecting to give to our customers, and understanding really what they want at the end of the day, so we can make sure that we're delivering and making that experience as flawless as possible. Anymore, when we think about our business and what's going into it, technology is really at the forefront of moving your business further along and helping gain efficiencies, unlock new capabilities. I think a great example of this is like the banking industry. It wasn't too long ago when you really had to go into a bank to do just about everything. And anymore, you almost never have to go into a bank. A lot of it's online, digital. That didn't happen overnight. There was a ton of planning and continuous improvement that had to actually happen and be thought about. I mean, would we really have it any other way? It's become so much easier. We don't have to go to a brick and mortar to make deposits and withdrawals and transfer, and check on our accounts, all those kinds of things. A lot of it can be done, with a smartphone and a camera app and taking pictures of checks and those kinds of things anymore. And things are constantly changing. We just have to stay on top of it. So what we really need to dive into is how we can actually build a digital transformation strategy. So I want to talk about that for a little bit. Like, how do we actually make it happen? That's probably when I talk to a new customer or somebody that really hasn't had thought about this, I guess, having that roadmap from the beginning is just something that a lot of businesses, they seem to just be, it's like a foreign concept to them. They don't really understand what it means to even really think about technology strategically and how it can really enable their business. I think what we really need to focus on here is assessing your current state and then just setting some goals. If we can just break it down that simply, that can really help us plan out a roadmap for getting there. So let's think about, what are we experiencing today? What are some of the problems? Maybe what are some things that maybe customers aren't very happy with, our employees, and what are the things that's causing them extra work, or are there inefficient processes that we've just had in place forever that we can maybe look at changing? And then let's figure out, where do we want to be? and then we can understand how we actually get there. And what you'll start to unravel there is that at the end of the day, a lot of these things can be solved with the right technology and probably some process changes. It's not going to be easy, but it can make a huge difference for your business and for your customers. So once we've kind of understood the current state and where we want to be, that's where we can identify key technologies and tools to kind of move us along. And then we actually need to put together an actual roadmap and a timeline. That can look a little bit different depending on your goals and what you want it to look like. But what I've found is it's usually best to try and break it out maybe by a quarterly and even taking it a step back further, a yearly basis. These are not generally easy changes to make. Sometimes they can really disrupt your business and change the entire landscape of what you're doing in your business. So it's not something that's going to necessarily be written down on paper by a weekly basis per se. You need to look at it, one, from a yearly plan, and then break that down into quarters, essentially a quarterly plan, kind of like the old saying of how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time, right? So that's how we got to break it down and make it not feel so overwhelming. And when you have that plan on paper, it suddenly becomes pretty clear on what needs to happen to reach those goals and make those changes within your business. So next we're going to talk about, after we've kind of got an overall plan in place, how do we actually implement and then sustain this transformation that we're trying to put into place, right? So how do we actually make it happen? One of the things that I see most often when looking at this is when you're maybe doing some kind of migration or some major tool change, if you don't have really clear communication and a clear-cut plan, and if you're not really project managing it to some extent, there's probably a good chance that you're going to have some kind of failure or something that's going to go wrong. It's going to be very disruptive to your business and to your customers, and it's just simply not going to go very well. And that can just really put a huge halt into the whole process. If you have a few mistakes like that, suddenly people aren't going to be on board with making these changes. It can really hinder what you're trying to do. So making sure that you have it clearly planned and clearly communicated, that's going to really help to get buy-in and make sure that it's actually going to happen. So change management and project management are going to be critical here. Making sure that you have owners of different processes, that you have people from every part of your division or each division involved. So that could be things like accounting, procurement, all of your different areas, whatever that looks like in your business. You need a representative that can really understand the potential pitfalls that might be met when you're making these kinds of changes. You also need to understand what success means when you're making these sorts of changes within your business. So having some way of measuring success and then adjusting your strategies to whether or not you've met success or maybe had some kind of hiccup along the way. So making sure that you understand what success looks like, you define that clearly so that everybody understands exactly where you're going and where you need to be and why we're doing it. If you don't have that, it can be very hard to understand that, yeah, you did what you set out to do and it went well. The other piece here, when you're implementing and making these kinds of huge sweeping changes to your business, especially from a technology perspective, is ensuring that this is not just a one-time fix. It needs to be a really long-term innovation. Just because you make one change or a few changes over, let's say, the course of a year, that doesn't mean you're done, right? You don't want to end up back where you were. So you need to make sure that you're continually reevaluating and shifting, because anymore this world's moving very quickly, especially in the technology world. So making a few changes over the course of a year or so, it's not going to be enough to truly keep up. You need to continue to innovate. And that can look like possibly having some kind of a technology committee within your organization that meets regularly. You have scheduled reviews of your technology and your needs for your business and your customers. Are they being met? Do we need to shift what we're doing and think differently? So to future-proof your business, it's crucial to understand the importance of digital transformation, build a comprehensive strategy, and implement it effectively. Remember, the journey doesn't end with implementation. Continuous improvement and innovation are key. Thanks for watching today's video. If you'd like to learn more, click the link in the description.